Hi, everybody. So this is really exciting. We are here to talk about the latest in the Ghibli Fest, Studio Ghibli Fest, the G Kids is doing. We've already done My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service. Mike was kind enough to join us last month for Kiki. But this month we're doing Castle in the Sky, and my friend Stanford is back here to talk about it with me.
How's it going?
Yeah. And this is going to be different than any podcast I think I've ever really done before. Because we both just saw this for the first time.
I literally just walked in the door a few minutes ago.
Both of us. So this is kind of almost like a post-show recap kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
We're giving our just like fresh responses. We're not experts on this movie, obviously. We just saw it.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be a little bit different than like something like Spirited Away, which I've seen many, many times and have a lot more knowledge on. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here, Rachel. Thank you again for the invitation.
Well, thank you for joining me. And so, so this movie came out in 1986. And I think it was the first Studio Ghibli film, the official.
Yes, that's what I understand, too. It's the first official Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah, because Nausicaa was made by the team, but it wasn't actually released under the Studio Ghibli label. Yeah. And so this would be the first, 1986. It's hard to believe. It holds up.
I know.
So well.
It does. Remarkably well.
It does not feel like a movie from 1986.
No, it's not dated at all.
Like, I just watched, because I'm doing it for Family Movie Night, I watched The Swan Princess. And that movie looks way older than this movie.
It was almost that come out. Later. That's the mid '80s, isn't that? A mid to late '80s.
No, 1994.
Oh, it shows how much I know about that film. Sorry,
it's not a super strong film, but anyway, it's just amazing. This just looks so much better in every way.
Yeah,
and it was quite a great experience. So. Yeah, so
gorgeous digital print too.
Oh,
just throwing that out there. Yeah, loved the print.
And such a treat to see it for the first time on the big screen.
On the big screen.
I've only had that opportunity for a couple of Studio Ghibli films. I got to see obviously the later ones. I saw Wind Rises. I saw Tail Princess Kaguya.
Yeah.
And when Marnie was there, I know I saw those, but. So I haven't been able to see that many for the first time.
On the big screen, right?
Yeah, so that was really cool.
Really a treat.
Yeah. So what was your overall just sort of main reaction to the movie?
Well, I didn't read much about it, Rachel, because I wanted to go in surprise. So I read a little bit. Plus, G Kids has been really busy on social media promoting it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen that, if you follow them on
a little bit,
on Facebook, on Twitter. So I've seen some of the artwork and some of the characters and different things. Anyway, I went in cold, though, for the most part. Was blown away, really, by I knew the animation was going to be great, but I was really blown away by the story. It is such a fun adventure. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to expect, and it definitely wasn't this, but I loved it. It was just, I felt, in a lot of ways, how I remember feeling after watching Raiders of the Lost Ark for the first time. Like, I just went on this great, exciting journey to a place I'd never been before, and I loved it. I had so much fun.
Yeah, I'd heard that it was an adventure. I knew at least that much, I guess, that it was an adventure for the whole family. I'd heard a friend describe it that way when he ranked his anime, but I really didn't know anything about the stone or the story or anything like that. So I also went pretty cold into it, and I also agree with you. I thought it was really good. It took me about 20 minutes to kind of really get into it, and I think maybe it's just because I was feeling a little tired. But then I don't know. There's particularly a scene where like the music just stops, and you just see this image of her, just like on and I don't know, like the colors and that was like, now I'm in.
You're in. Yeah.
Whatever. Like I was like 80%. Now I'm 100%.
Yeah.
And
I hear you.
It is a long movie. It's got to be one of their longest movies.
Longest, like 2 hours and 20 minutes is what the website said, but I don't know
Yeah,
But it was long.
yeah.
Yeah.
With the shorts, it's definitely was 2 hours 20 minutes.
Yeah. Kids played 3 shorts. Is that right? Three
Yeah,
shorts in
I
front of it.
missed the first one because I
Mm-hmm.
was late. But yeah, 126 minutes is what Wikipedia says. So it's a
Okay.
pretty long animated movie. Most of
Yeah.
them aren't that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really really enjoyed it, and I thought that it had some really special characters, and that you don't always necessarily see in Miyazaki's movies. Particularly, I thought that Pazu, I think is how you say it.
Yes.
I thought that he was a very unique character for Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, he really was, huh?
For Miyazaki.
Yeah.
You almost never have such a strong male character. Like if you can compare him to Tombo and Kiki,
Yes.
like there's no comparison.
I was just gonna say that because when he came on screen, I thought, well, here's the version of Tombo,
Yeah.
in Castle in the Sky, but not at all. He's a very different character and a terrific character.
Like
the
only other one, obviously, The Wind Rises but that's more of an adult character.
Yeah.
And then there's in Spirited Away, there's a male character, but he's more sort of aloof and more, I don't know, not quite like this.
Right.
He kind of reminded me sometimes of like a little John McClane. Like he had like his gun, and like, I don't know, like he's got like the grip of a champion.
Oh, his grip, yeah, it's amazing. Well said.
There's like 15 times where he's like hanging from some plane or something.
Where one little slip and he's falling to his death, and yeah. It's true. Great. He really did look like John McClane. That determined look on his face. And not to and the weapons.
Yeah, he was awesome. I really thought he was cool.
I thought Pazu was really cool too. I liked his character a lot, and I thought he had an interesting character arc too. In a way that again wasn't necessarily predictable, and it wasn't stupid either. No. It was really really great.
Yeah, no, he seemed like he was a strong character, but he was still a compassionate, kind character. He was very loyal, obviously.
Yes.
And I just thought they had a really cool friendship.
I like their friendship too.
Yeah, that wasn't just about sort of a romance. It was a real like friendship.
Yes.
And so, he was probably my favorite, but he was just so unique because I just don't, Miyazaki typically, obviously focuses on young girls in his movies.
Right.
Really great dynamic characters. And he certainly has that here, but I thought it was cool that he also had a really awesome male character.
I totally agree. Awesome, unique, and just great in every regard. Yeah.
So the movie, it starts out with this girl, Sheeta, that she's been abducted, and there's these pirates that attack the ship, and she ends up falling from the ship, and she has this stone, this magic stone, that saves her from dying in the fall, and that she lands where Pazu is, and he sees her. And what do you think of that opening? It was a pretty dynamic way to open.
I loved it. When you were saying it took you a few minutes to get into the film, and I agree. I mean, I'm often that way too, kind of depending on how the day's going and actually how the film starts too. But honestly, this had me at the first frame.
Yeah.
No one does clouds better than Studio Ghibli. I mean, those clouds
and
were spectacular. And then those airships are they were remarkable in their design. Yeah. It's very, because it's not set in a particular time period, right? I mean, and it's definitely a fantasy that's rooted in reality in a way, right? I mean, it follows the world they've created follows very much a logic like in our world, but it had me at that airship, I mean, because I love that design of that. It almost it was kind of a dirigible, but not. You know,
Yeah, it almost had like a little bit of sort of a Mad Max kind of feel to it a little bit.
It did,
like,
and it wasn't steampunk, you know, but it was something altogether new. And every airship in that film just was the coolest. So I can elaborate more on that later. But I love that opening scene because you immediately, again, the action just starts, you know, and we meet Colonel Muska. Am I saying Muska is the name, right?
Yeah, they don't say. They have almost no exposition in this movie.
Yeah,
there's hardly any. Like they don't spend any time explaining what the stone is or what Laputa is, or like there's just none. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, and it all is just you learn about it as they go along, you know, as they're acting through it.
I had a friend in college who, like, she was the kind of person who couldn't kind of wait for the movie to show you what was going on. You know, she'd be like, "Why are they going in that room? What are they doing over there?" And I'd be like, "Go
watch.
I can't watch a movie with you." And she wouldn't like this movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, because you have to watch and learn, you know, as it's happening.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a cool narrative device for this film too. But I just loved how, without the exposition, how it just shows you meet Colonel Muska, and I thought he was the coolest looking character. Maybe it was just the sunglasses.
Which character did he remind me of? Was it in in Howl's Moving Castle?
Oh yeah.
No, he looks kind of like the dad in Ponyo.
Oh, that's true. He does.
That's the one. Yeah.
Okay.
This movie, it probably would be horrible because they would make it horrible, but in the right hands, I could almost see this being one of the more approachable movies if they wanted to do a remake of it, because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like most of the stuff is more grounded than, say, Spirited Away or something like that.
I mean, this has such a strong narrative and a real, you know, beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And
Wind Rises probably would be the easiest to adapt to, but I don't know. I think this would be the close, but those are always so horrible live action adaptations.
I know. That's the
anime,
thing.
So we don't want to suggest that.
No, but I hear what you're saying, because again, back to that Raiders of the Lost Ark thing. This was such an exciting adventure movie.
Yeah.
And it was clear, but not in a. They weren't spoon feeding us anything, or it wasn't playing down to us, but so I just liked that it was very clear. You know, you knew what was happening. It wasn't convoluted.
Yeah.
And
you know who the good guys are, the bad guys are.
Right.
With the exception of maybe the pirates, it's a little, you're not sure.
You're not sure about where the pirates stand, but that was kind of that was a fun. I don't know that in a way that they were kind of the comic relief and you know, in a way. But yeah, that was fun to know. To have that be revealed rather than just knowing where they stood too. I like that.
Yeah, and you just kind of had to I at this point, it's kind of like, I trust Miyazaki. I'm just going to let him.
Yes.
You know, if I don't understand it, if I'm a little unclear, I trust him, and I just let him do his job.
I mean, what a master storyteller and filmmaker.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine what that must feel like. I was thinking about that after I saw Moana, you know, that like when you think of Ron Clements and John Musker, like what that must feel like to have made something and to have like created it, and or like Pete Docter with Inside Out. Like, to me, I was just like, that must be the most amazing feeling in the world, to just be like, I created this whole world and this mythology and this unbelievable. And I thought that one of the coolest things about this movie was the colors and I love that color of blue. It was almost like blue.
Wasn't it great?
It was so calming. It was like, just
beautiful.
It was so beautiful. Yeah, and I don't know, you just knew that, like, I don't know, like you just felt this power from it. You knew that somehow everything was going to be okay. It was going to work out because it was I don't know. It was almost similar to like a burning bush kind of a feeling when you'd see that blue light.
Yeah, that blue light that you see initially when you mentioned, that when Sheeta falls off the airship in that beginning scene, you don't it does glow, and you see it in other parts in the film. But I'm with you. I loved it. It's a remarkable thing.
How do you think about Sheeta in comparison to, say, Kiki and Chihiro and some of these other characters, Sophie in House Moon Castle?
Yeah, of course, she looks identical to them. I mean, that goes without saying, right? I mean, it's the exact same. Same. Although she had those long braids, that was kind of her differentiator, right?
Which actually figures into the plot.
Yeah, it figures into the plot.
Yeah.
Which was fun. I was surprised. I was happy. That was a fun surprise about that too.
Yeah.
But I thought she was a good character, or different in that she was piecing together. She's an orphan, but her mother taught her some things which come into play later in the film, which she didn't understand and she didn't really know. And so I thought I liked how we were discovering along with her what her heritage was and what her strengths, powers are. And so I like that. She seemed loyal, she seemed tough. Yeah, which again, so are these other characters in Studio Ghibli. And I just felt
there was a softness to her that I don't necessarily in some of those other characters. I think that I love how Kiki is very like emotionally true and very honest with her feelings. And she gets this depression, she gets this things. I love that about her. Chihiro is kind of, you get to see this arc of her being this whiner and this kind of bratty kid, and then growing up and being this hard worker, and where Sophie, I think, is a character that's very emotional. She's just crying all the time. She's very emotional. So they all are different, and they all have different strengths. And I think that she's just I think there's a softness to her. There's a loving nature to her that I really like. She's also brave, I think, in ways that, like, incredibly brave. Yeah. Like Chihiro was definitely more scared of a lot of things, and I don't know. I like that. She's gonna go after him. She's gonna find the amulet. She's gonna climb out. You know this from the very beginning, because she's gonna climb out of a window and hang onto the side of an air.
Crazy, yeah, and brave.
I liked that she was so. I don't know. She was a really cool character.
Yeah, I liked her character a lot too. I wasn't sure I was going to initially. It was like, oh dear, but that was that was laid to rest just pretty much immediately. After, particularly after she starts interacting with Pazu.
Yeah.
After he caught her. On the ground.
I guess I should also throw Nasuke in there. Like, he just has such great characters. He's so amazing.
They are. They're great. I know.
Really great.
Every character in this film.
Yeah.
I thought was very well done.
Yeah. So they find out that this crystal is the material that is used to keep the city called Laputa in the skies and to keep it alive.
Yeah.
And so there's this giant crystal in Laputa in the center.
Was made out of that magical blue again, right?
Now, did Muska, he wanted this to like for money, for greed, or why did he want?
My take on it was world domination, because
she tells him, how can you rule over a fallen city?
Right, but then he launches that big weapon. You know how all that man-made stuff around the giant tree.
And,
he launches that weapon, and he does give a little bit of. I mean, that's probably the only bit of exposition there. I don't know if you can call it exposition, Rachel, but how Muska was talking about how this is the same thing that destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah.
And almost
almost just like the power of God to destroy
Yeah.
a certain place on the earth was done through this floating city, and that he would have control of that power.
Yeah.
He didn't seem interested in the knowledge or in the beauty or anything in that city. He went straight for the weapon. That's how I interpreted it. What did you think?
No, that makes sense. I wasn't sure. I was interested to talk to you because I wasn't sure. I thought, did he just want it for money, or I don't know. It's a little bit unclear as far as
and I think again, it probably wasn't clear. Maybe he did state it, but I really thought he was just going for
the power
for power.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the movie has a lot of sort of them just chasing each other, and we get to meet these pirates.
Yes.
They they call her Mama, and then there's these men.
Yeah, Captain Dola, I believe is her name, right? Dola is the character name, but yeah, it's Dola and her sons. So Mama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also a typical trope of Miyazaki with the older woman kind of character but this is one of the best ones I think that he's done. And she was a riot. She was a hoot. She, first she thought that she good, is she bad? But she's just kind of a pirate,
she's a pirate.
So at least sort of our modern sort of fantasy version of pirates these days.
Yes.
And so she was really funny, and the only part I thought maybe was like a little strange was how like in love with Sheeta all of the men were, and I'm like, like a little girl. Like,
that was weird. I know, because Sheeta looks like she's 13 or something. Yeah. And these are all grown men. And it's like, ew. I thought that too. And again, they didn't do anything necessarily inappropriate, but they were all just like smitten with her.
Yeah, so, they were super in love with her.
Yeah. And that was fun. That scene in the galley on the airship, how she's she's preparing dinner or whatever, and then they all come in to try to help her and bring her flowers or something.
Yeah.
It's funny, but weird.
It's weird funny. But like, because at first you think, oh, is she like their slave? Or, but I think actually like Dola was actually trying to kind of protect her in a way.
Yeah, that's exactly. And it was unclear, but then, because when she goes up, when Pazu and Sheeta go up and have that meeting at the top of the pirate ship, when Pazu's on guard, and Mama's listening in her quarters, she's listening to the conversation in that tube.
Yeah,
I knew that's where for me I figured out. I think she's trying to protect him, rather than trying to. She wasn't being nefarious. I think she was just more curious.
Yeah, I think so too. And so, what did you think of this robot? So they find this robot on the where is it that they find the robot? It was it's like a tower.
It was in a tower that Colonel Muska had, or it was I don't know if it was his lair or whatever, but they had found this robot and it had kind of locked it away, in a dungeon type place. Mm-hmm. It was down like in a basement. It seemed like, right? Because doesn't he emerge? Doesn't he kind of?
Yeah. He tells Sheeta that she is of royal lineage.
Right.
Robot, right.
Which is how she can activate that crystal.
And other people can't. Yeah.
Yeah. And as it just because she's within proximity, that's what activates the robot, isn't it? Because of the crystal. I think that's what brings the robot back to life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a funky robot. I love the design because it's a bit asymmetrical. Mm-hmm. How it kind of. I don't mean any disrespect. It kind of looked reminiscent of the Iron Giant. You wonder if the Iron Giant.
The other one I thought of is K2SO.
Yes, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
bet you a little bit of an influence
But
on that.
they showed the severed arm, when the robot was dormant in that dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost looked like he was made out of a combination of metal and plant matter or something. Didn't it look kind of like there was living, those look like creatures in his, maybe I'm misinterpreting it, Rachel, but that's what it looked
Oh
like
yeah. No, there was
to
those
me.
little, like, it looked like a little, oh, I don't know what the word, not a gerbil, but like a little fox kind of thing, minx or something.
There's those too. Yeah.
That came out of him.
Yeah.
That's true. And and we learned later that Muska is of royal birth, but like a
Yes.
different line.
They are a different line. Yeah. So they're the only two that are, living.
Yeah.
And he wants to, and so he was aware of the crystal's power, and that's what he wanted. And Sheeta wasn't aware of it at all, although her parents had instilled in her these important gifts or this information that really comes in handy, and it saves her and saves the world, really. Yeah.
Well, and you see, like, it's kind of nice because you see all these different groupings through the course of the movie. There's, for time, it's Sheeta and Pazu, and then Pazu is with the pirates, and then it's Sheeta with the pirates, and then it's Sheeta with Muska, it's Pazu with Muska. You get these different groupings that I think make it kind of, it keeps you going. It keeps you, what's going to happen next? What's going on?
Exactly. And there's never a dull moment in this film. The action keeps propelling, I thought, overall. There are a couple kind of, they slow the pace down a little bit.
I despise the whole, like, Mary Sue thing, but there's no way that anybody could claim that this is a Mary Sue, because literally it's really like a group effort. Like, everyone is kind of needed in order to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just luck at a certain point. A lot of it is not based on any kind of power that anybody in particular has. They all kind of have a role to play. And so let's see. So they end up destroying that tower, and then there's they end up back on these airships. And
the airships that I love.
Yeah. There's the tiger moth, it says that was called.
Was that the one that the pirates used?
Yes, the pirates and Pazu and Sheeta are in it's called the tiger moth, and that's the ones that have the little copter things.
Yeah, with the fluttering wings that look like a bug.
And it never fails to amaze me, the sound design in Studio Ghibli.
Oh, I know.
Whenever they do an airplane, it's always, because there's airplanes in all of their movies, and it's just always like so real.
I agree with the sound. It all sounded so cool. They gave them, because these are such fanciful, machines, as we discussed, and they gave them a very airplane-like, sound, but also fanciful. There was something else going on. It was really, I thought it was effective.
I did too. And so they're chasing the Muska on his ship is called the Goliath. And so there's almost this sort of, I don't know, like a Moby Dick or whatever. I don't know, that kind of like exploration sort of thing in this big ship, little ship, and in the air. And that's really fun. There's some really tense scenes. And like I said, there's nobody that's better at hanging on Pazu.
Than Pazu. Pazu with his super strength.
I know, that man knows how to do a pull-up.
I know. And he can hold on to most anything. It's like the expert, rock climber. He could climb El Capitan in Yosemite, whatever. Just
Yeah, because at this point, Muska has the amulet.
Yeah, Muska gets hold of the amulet.
And so they have to get on the Goliath. They have to get the amulet from Muska, and I thought that was all done. I didn't even know that she'd actually gotten it. I wasn't sure until, because they have this whole like conversation. They're going back and forth, and there's between them all, and I just didn't know, and then she, you see that she has it in the next sort of scene, which is very exciting, and they end up on they find
They find Laputa. Is that right? Am I saying
Laputa,
that right?
yeah, Laputa.
Yeah.
And I guess this movie can be called Laputa Castle in the
Right,
Sky.
Castle in the Sky. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they find it, and it's like this floating city. And it's all just covered with roots everywhere. And everything's kind of like in a middle state. Like it's not like dead, but it's all like kind of close to getting there.
Yeah, it's like very well kept ruins is what it looks like to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and no people. There are no people there. Signs that people were there, but no one that they no living human. Yeah.
Well, and we had learned earlier in the film that Sheeta was told by her mother, I think it is, the spell of distraction. So we know that she has this. She's never supposed to use it. It's supposed to be. It's a very serious spell. So we kind of knew that going into it. Of course, that's going to come into play.
Yeah.
But they're on Laputa. They're trying to find the. They're trying to find the source of power, I guess, which is this giant crystal.
Yeah.
And so they have these, I don't know, back and forth. There's a lot of really good sort of action. There's all these robots, and there was a lot of death in this movie. Like there's whole scenes where like all these soldiers are just
falling off the castle in the sky. They're falling far. Because Colonel Muska has partnered with the military, and so there's all these soldiers. There's a general or something. I can't remember what his character name is. Rachel, do you recall that older that military lead?
Let's see, General Moro.
Yeah, that's probably he's a general. Yeah, I think they lose the whole platoon, or what, I don't know what you call them.
Yeah, I mean it's
they all fall.
Like, just lots, and it happened several times. I was a little bit surprised with that. There's a lot of carnage.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of carnage.
But I guess that's not unheard of. I mean, Princess Mononoke is more bloody.
Exactly, and. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I mean there were a lot of these soldiers, but they all So
Sheeta ends up following Muska into get the large diamond stone or whatever. And this is a really interesting section. What do you think of this? The dialogue between the two of them back and forth.
Well, I thought it was fascinating because again, that's where we learn more about, I think, not only their motivations but really their philosophy on life, right? I was so overwhelmed though too by those tunnels and all those things that they were going through as part of the chase to the pursuit. It's the most cleverly designed environment. I was so taken by that. I think I really need to see it again so I can pay more attention to what they were saying, because I was so in awe of the animation and how everything looked. Like all those squares that had stuff on it that I wondered if it was maybe some kind of language or something, but how they'd move around, and then these funky elevators and all these different things that
it was just continually sort of surprising you, and and there was some biblical language in this. I think she even prays at a certain point. She
does pray,
which is different,
which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah,
and I don't know. There's a feeling of it. It almost sort of reminded me of I don't know. This almost had sort of a Wrinkle in Time kind of feel to it in certain ways, I thought. And she basically learns that the people of Laputa left for a reason, and she tries to tell that to him, but he won't listen. He just wants the power. Like that's what, and so she tries. She ends up giving, at one point she gives the amulet to Pazu through this, there's a little crack in the wall. That was a pretty good scene.
Because Pazu keeps pursuing, them.
Yeah.
As they're going deeper and deeper in, to find that power source.
Yeah. And then there's a very tense scene we talked about a little bit where he uses, I forget what it was, but he basically shoots off both of her braids. And she says...
Muska shoots
Yeah,
them
Muska
off.
does.
Yeah.
But I forget if it was what kind of gun it was or what anyway. But anyway, he does. And he's like, the forehead will be next, I think is what he says. It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And that's when basically like Pazu comes and says, give me 3 minutes with Sheeta. 3 minutes. And that's when I think he tells her, like, you need to use the spell of destruction, or you need to tell it to me.
Yeah,
teach me.
Tell it, yeah, teach me. He's like, be calm or something and teach me this. So she whispers it into his ear and then they say it together.
Which was really cool.
Which was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that was really nicely done.
Yeah. And then everything just starts to fall apart and Muska ends up falling. And that's when you get, or they end up reuniting with the pirates.
The pirates, yeah, and it's the weapons and all of this other man-made stuff that's falling off, and what's remaining is part of the quote unquote castle in the sky, and then this incredible tree structure that's part of it, and I was wondering about. I was thinking about metaphors with Miyazaki too, and I was wondering if this was kind of a Princess Mononoke thing or something about man versus nature.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? I mean, thematically,
it's hard because it's just so fresh. It's hard to really ponder about it.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
me a while.
I think there was definitely some of that for sure, and there's definitely. There were definitely some spiritual things he was trying to say, and some spiritual components about life and love and it's just interesting, like what real sort of destruction is in this world. It's almost like somewhat hopeful in a way, and I don't know. Like I think that the the end, you see the city sort of orbiting, and I feel like it's not sort of the end. It's not like we saw it all just blow up or something like that.
No, it's still very much in existence because the crystal's still in there.
Yeah.
And
so I think it'll now renew and grow and so it'll be interesting to see what would happen next with it.
Yeah, it lost all of its bad parts again that I think that were man-made, and that were also tied to aggression.
That's true, because all the robots are basically gone.
Yeah, the robots are gone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, there was something sort of like purifying kind of about every sort of step that she does along the way is sort of hacking through stuff. Yeah. I think so. And I don't know, I just felt that it was just, I had such great characters. It had let's talk about the animation for a second. Oh my gosh, the animation was so beautiful.
Like I said,
gorgeous. The colors were so beautiful, but like just the way that it used the lighting and the way that, like I said, I wish I could remember exactly where it was, but there's just one scene where the music stops and you just see this like blue and this like close-up image of her kind of going like this.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
yeah, it's gorgeous. One of the scenes where I thought the animation was particularly stunning too, although every frame, I loved every frame.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
When, back to Pazu is believing all this stuff about the loss, about this castle in the sky, because his father took a picture of it. Remember how his father?
Oh, yeah.
His father was able to snap that photograph of it, and then there's that one scene where they're getting close to the approaching the castle, and there's that storm, and the animation changes, and it goes to almost black and white, and the soundtrack goes out too,
That's
just
that's the
silent.
part I'm talking about.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah, that was
but
amazing.
Pazu sees his dad. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Because earlier on when Pazu's showing that picture, there's also a picture of the dirigible that that airship that his dad took to get when he got the picture. And so it's basically, it was almost like his dad was guiding him in. It is stunning, and there's lightning going on, and the lightning, then they call it like the dragon clouds or something. Anyway, the lightning almost kind of looks like a dragon. It's really subtle, but beautiful. Yeah. And they've got like those great, I call them the anime lines. I'm sure that there's a name for it. The anime people are going to kill me. But when there's movement and then they have all the lines going on the screen to help demonstrate that they're moving through a space. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway.
But it was very fluid and very, I don't know.
I wanted us to rewind it and show, can we show that scene again? Because that was incredible.
Yeah, this is one that you really could dissect, I think, and really do like a real point by point kind of analysis of.
I think so too.
Yeah, and this might be my favorite Joe Hisaishi score. This score was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. I agree. My stars. The way
that first of all, they know when to not use music, which is about half the battle.
I know.
But also the way he used choral, like I'm sure you appreciate this as a member of a choir, was just awe-inspiring.
Yeah, it was stunning.
I don't think I remember like choral being used so much
used so effectively, and the music was terrific, and I thought so too. I'm so partial to his soundtrack for My Neighbor Totoro, but
that's more like, that's different. That's like,
it's completely. I was gonna say it's completely different.
It's more like quiet and simple. This is like just so like epic and
epic adventure movie.
Yeah, it really did, and I just thought like I particularly loved the choral music. It just was so big and bold, and especially when she the ending with Muska and Sheeta and Ponza with this destruction, that you really hear the spell of destruction. You really hear the choral in there, and that was just so like wow. Yeah. And so I don't know. He's just incredible. I've always said, and I've said for a long time, that I think one of the greatest travesties of the Academy Awards is he's never been nominated, because he is incredible.
It's a real
incredible
shame.
Incredible composer, and just because he does foreign film anime, that shouldn't be a reason to not nominate if it's the best.
Right. No, he's terrific, and
so
this film is up there. It's so great.
I mean, it's really amazing when you think about it too, that like 1986 was like such a dry period for animation, and I mean, like that mid to late 80s until Little Mermaid came out, and you had you had Land Before Time, you had a few of the Don Bluth films, but it was a really dry period, and so they were sort of, they're the saving grace of the 80s, really, as Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, animation was thriving in Japan.
Yeah,
and wow, were they making great films?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, I feel almost embarrassed that this is the first time I'm seeing this movie, because it's so great. Because it's so great, and I just thought, well, how come I haven't watched this?
What if do you have other Studio Ghibli you haven't seen?
I haven't seen. What's the Yamadas? I'm trying to remember the full title.
The Yamadas.
Yeah. I've never seen that one.
That one's a lot of fun.
And that one's coming out. I think that as part of this whole G Kids, re-releasing of Studio Ghibli films on Blu-ray.
I think people will like that.
I'm excited to see it. And I think
totally different than this.
Oh well, yeah. completely different.
It's more like
for something completely different.
But yeah, I'm down to 2. I'm only
which ones?
2. Whispers in the Heart I haven't seen, and I haven't seen The Cat Returns. Those are the only 2.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
Yeah,
you're way ahead of me. There's one other one too, Rachel, that I'm gonna have to look that I haven't seen.
Yeah,
and
I guess those are the only 2 Miyazakis that I haven't seen. So anyway.
Nicely done. It was very very impressive. And I need to change my ways and make sure I watch these
But this was just such a treat to see it on the big screen.
On the big screen, and this beautiful digital print and wonderful sound.
And we both watched the sub. We did not watch the dub.
Yeah, we both watched the sub.
The dubbed is evidently pretty good. It has James Van Der Beek.
Yeah, did they show that newer dub that Disney did? That one, is that what they showed on Sunday? I don't know.
I just assumed so, but maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know either, because I assumed it, but I did see that.
That's true, because there have been 2 English dubs.
Yeah, there have been 2 English dubs, so I just don't know which one they showed. I think they showed that new one, because Mark Hamill plays Colonel Muska, or is the voice of Colonel Muska.
Yeah,
which would be cool.
And Cloris Leachman as Dole.
Which is that's a fun choice. So Sheeta is it Anna Paquin? Is that right?
The only thing about them is I just can't imagine. They seem too old to be playing these characters.
Yeah, they do.
Japanese characters felt that age.
They felt young. Yeah, the voices just sounded young, and
I
mean, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of screaming, Sheeta, Sheeta.
I mean, the only thing that was like a Miyazaki trope that's not in this is some kind of cute furry talking animal.
Right. No, that's true. There wasn't. I wondered if those little creatures that were climbing on the robot, if they were going to start to talk or something, and they didn't. And I was glad. I mean, again, not that I hate that, because it's a Miyazaki thing,
Yeah. You don't really need it.
But it wasn't needed.
I guess there's not one in Nazca, so maybe that was just something he built up to later on. So, all right. Well, good. I think we went over it just about as well as you can on a first.
After just seeing it, I know.
Once.
And being so totally overwhelmed with happiness.
I'm seeing here on Wikipedia that I guess Laputa is derived from Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels.
Oh, right. Because you know how they were. That's right. Did they show? Were they looking at a book at some point? Was it Muska that had a book anyway? I don't know if they brought that up.
I can't remember.
Anyway, I can't remember either.
But yeah, and it says Laputa is credited by Colonel Muska with having informed biblical and Hindu legends, thus tying the world of Laputa to our Earth and to Western European civilization. And so anyway, there's just a lot of different things. It's really interesting. So, and there's it says, let's see. I guess that Miyazaki first visited Wales in 1984 and witnessed the miners' strike firsthand. He returned to the country in 1986 to prepare for Laputa, which he said reflected his Welsh experience.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because, there's that. When we meet Pazu, he's working in the mines. Yeah. Right? Or he's just kind of helping.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, is that his family, or is he just sort of a?
It's like they're looking out for him, but he's truly an orphan.
Yeah.
It was unclear, but then when he was talking to Sheeta about how they were both orphans, I thought, well, okay, that makes sense, because it's not like he was living like Kiki did, like literally right behind the bakery. He lived a bit away, right, in that kind of little. Set off that structure that was a little set off from the village. That's interesting here about that Wales part, because you know how they show that village, where the miners live in relation to the mine too. That kind of looked British to me in a way, or European.
Yeah, it did. Well, I mean, all of his
they all do
have a European city. Yeah, but yeah, it did, but there's just sort of look almost like a pub sort of.
Yes.
Environment kind of, and also you could kind of see like there was a sort of an element even getting to the crystal, of sort of a mine, like a mining feel, and they get all the jewels and stuff like that, and so that's really, really interesting. And so, yeah, I think it's a great movie, and I just love. I like all the Studio Ghibli movies. Even Tales. I feel like Tales from Earthsea is the one that everybody
Everybody's kind of
so bad.
rails
Even
on.
Miyazaki doesn't like it, but I think it has some interesting things. I don't think it's that bad, and so I don't know. I can just find entertainment, and almost all of them are just flat out masterpieces in my opinion. So I don't know. Like if you were giving between a 1 to 10, what would you on your first viewing? What would you give it?
9.5.
Yeah.
Or yeah. I'm not sure if I could quite give it a 10, but definitely at least 9.5. How about you?
I think same. I think same. I think maybe I was just a little bit tired going into it, but yeah, it just really got me, and I have very few criticisms.
Yeah.
Of it. I mean, I guess just that it is a long movie, and so that won't be for everybody, but I didn't care.
I didn't care either. In fact, I noticed it, and I never got bored. I was always just in awe and just enjoying the journey. It was such a fun adventure. Yeah, I loved it.
So yeah, and we should note that this month, or at least it was finally officially announced in a press release, the Studio Ghibli is reopened, and they are making. I think it actually happened a while ago, but they are officially making his latest movie, which. Yay.
I know. Yay.
I'm so excited.
I know. Because that was such a bummer when there was all that confusion when Miyazaki retired, and then like, is Studio Ghibli even going to be a thing?
Yeah.
And I was
I was really sad. But evidently, he's in his 80s, so I believed it when he said he was retiring. But yay!
I know. I'm really excited. Did they give a release date or kind of a proposed release date? You know,
I'm not sure, and it is
2019.
Yeah, and I think I heard that it's actually going to be a CG film.
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard too. It's going to be CG.
But
it's interesting, and again, maybe that's what brought him back. To have kind of the challenge to do something unique. I don't know. I mean, how many times has he retired? Is this like the third? Or the fourth?
I think so.
But
now we just need to get Takahata out of retirement. Make another one.
yes, and yes.
We need it. Animation has been so.
Studio Ghibli will save the day. I mean, I think I love the Red Turtle.
Yeah.
Which was, in a way, kind of a co-production. Don't you think? Yeah. I mean, what would you call that, Rachel?
Yeah, it was. It had the actual Studio Ghibli Totoro card at the beginning.
Right.
So it was officially a Studio Ghibli film. But yeah, it was definitely a co-production. They had Asaya Takahata listed as an executive producer.
Yes.
Who knows exactly what that means these days. But yeah, it definitely... It felt like, to me, it felt like if the people over at Cartoon Salon, Song of the Sea, Secret of the Kells, those films, and Studio Ghibli had a baby, then they make like the Red Turtle.
It would be the Red Turtle. That was true. I mean,
which is like dream come true for me. Yeah. Like, those are my favorite.
I love the Red Turtle. I thought it was a gorgeous, very thought-provoking film.
Best soundtrack of the year. That score was unbelievable.
That was so surreal. It was wonderful.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, there have been now in this time period that we didn't think we'd have any more Studio Ghibli films, there have been some other anime companies. Of course, we've had Your Name, Makoto Shinkai coming to the forefront. We've had a movie. There's a really lovely movie called A Silent Voice that I recommend. It's also very long. That's the only downside. Its pacing is a little, but it's very good, very moving. It's about a relationship between a deaf girl who gets bullied, but it's actually told from the bullied's perspective and how he like kind of comes to how he learns and ends up asking for forgiveness. And anyways, I really thought it was great. Also one called The Napping Princess that's coming out.
Yes.
And also one called Mary and the Witch's Garden. And
they showed a preview for that.
Yeah. And I'm a little bummed that's only going to be in theaters for one day. That's kind of lame, but I'm so excited to see it. but yeah, anyway, so there have been some great anime that has like come to the
and
forefront to
mostly,
today.
I mean, can we say maybe 75% of it is courtesy of G Kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of
Kids
it
and Funimation.
and Funimation are the
Yeah,
two, and
100% between the two.
thank good between those two, and thank goodness. I mean, what
Yeah.
a gift, you
Yeah.
know, particularly given the kind of year we're having.
I know.
In fact, that's what I was. That was another thing that was so fun seeing this movie is because there. I mean, wasn't there talks like this last weekend at the box office was like the worst one all year, and the worst one in a long time too. And thank goodness for this. You know, for Fathom Events, these other places. You know, people where you can go see a movie, good movie.
So I think I heard that it was the worst August performing since like 1996 or something.
Yeah, I think I read.
Which is
read something similar to that. It's crazy, but kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the only things I've seen have been like pretty much little indie films.
Yeah.
Except for Logan Lucky, I guess we can call that mainstream, which was hilarious. But
I'm seeing it tomorrow. I'm excited.
I thought it was super funny. I liked it more than the average person, it seems like. But anyway,
so
next month we have Spirited Away, correct?
Spirited Away, if I'm not mistaken. Or
is it Nausicaa?
We probably need to check because let's see if I've got it right here. It is Nausicaa.
Oh, Nausicaa.
Yeah, the Nausicaa, the Eye of the Wind.
Well, that'll be a lot of fun to talk about.
And Spirited Away is in October.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and then Howl's Moving Castle in November. So these have been so great. Studio Ghibli Fest rules. Yeah. It's just been a delight.
Yeah, this has been just so fun. And so where can people find you? On Twitter,
probably the best place is on Twitter. I'm at Stanford Clark. I also have a movie blog, which is stanfordclark.wordpress.com. So come visit me there.
Great. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel. And always a pleasure.
We'll look forward to next month. This will be really fun. And so this week we have on Thursday, we're finally doing the next episode of Chicks on Flicks. That we are talking about Bridge Over the River Kwai on Thursday.
Oh, cool.
And, so that's going to be really, really fun. I have actually a couple other cool things. Sometime either on Wednesday or Thursday, I'm going to record something with my friend David. We're going to do a fall movie preview going all the way through November.
That's nice.
Fun. Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah. And then also my friend Amber, we started we both love Hallmark original movies, and we started a Hallmark podcast, and we are going to be talking about the August movies that they had. There's 5 movies. It's going to be really fun. So that's going to be Thursday.
Oh,
so
that's
a lot of fun stuff coming up this week to look forward to.
You got a good week going on.
I know. I'm excited. I just have all these people willing to do stuff, so I'm excited. So, and also sometime this week, I'm also going to be recording something. We're going to be talking about Watership Down with another friend of mine.
Oh, great.
So, a lot of really cool stuff all over the place. And so look forward to that. And thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.